You ever look back at your own YouTube history and think, wow, why did no one stop me? Because that's exactly how I feel every time I remember the early days of this channel. The days where everybody and their dog were doing the newbie book tag, and I thought, cool, this is how you meet people. This is my way in. Yeah, no. Not, no, it wasn't. It was a different experience. Everybody else was getting these adorable stories, posting their comments, welcome to the community, so happy you're here, I love your energy. It was really sweet, and I left a few of them. Meanwhile, I uploaded mine and got met with hostility. Not just ignored, but actual met with hostility. Comments nitpicking everything, telling me I didn't fit the vibe. Someone even told me that BookTube wasn't really for people like me, which is hilarious in a depressing sort of way, because that was my welcome party. That was my introduction. I didn't get the BookTube hug, I got the BookTube slap. And instead of thinking, these people are weird, I did my classic millennial thing and internalized everything, and I decided I must be the problem. That was the moment where the outsider feeling began, and it's never truly gone away. Welcome to this episode of The Bald Book Geek. We're off topic today. Like, sub, hit that hype button, tell me what you think in the comments below. And if you want to support this channel, you can buy me a coffee at Ko-fi, become a channel member, Substack, or Patreon. Pick your poison. So let's fast forward to now. Nearly a decade later, like February 15th will be a decade, I think. 2026, yikes. And sometimes I still feel like I'm standing outside a house party looking through the window while everyone else dances and pretends the punch bowl isn't mostly vodka. Like I said, in February 26th, this channel turns 10. 10 years of me rambling into a microphone or a camera, hoping that eventually the imposter syndrome would stop and expire like a bad coupon. Spoiler, it hasn't. I tried so hard to fit in back then. Everything. I did everything I thought I should. The tags, the wrap-ups. I did the enthusiastic intros, even though the enthusiasm is really not my natural setting, as you can probably tell by my content. I tried to be whatever BookTube wanted me to be. I tried to collab with people. Yeah, collab. Because sometimes, collab is a good word. It's not building friendships, but despite mine being few and far between, because mostly I was told to go away, it's more like collecting temporary allies. But I never really found that tribe. I was never invited to the inner circle of the cabal of BookTube. Big channels, small channels, mid-sized channels, no matter what size. I was the guy at school who showed up to the wrong party and everyone just stared. And yeah, that kind of stings, even now. I think part of me is still waiting for that acceptance that never come. Then came my second channel. Oh yeah, the second channel. One that I thought would be my escape. Maybe find some new people, a different side of myself, my real personality coming out. Except I didn't find it there either. And, well, you all know that story by now. I think this one kind of hurt more because I went in really hopeful. I thought different niche, different outcome. Same results. A lot of hostility, but some really good people as well. And honestly, I don't know if it's just me, my awkwardness, my weird interests, my neurodivergent tendency to ramble like I'm exploring lore from a fantasy series no one asked for, or it's just YouTube being YouTube even before the bot attack. Probably both, maybe neither. Who knows at this point? But I realized something important. I've never found my people. I found some great people, but I've never had those bonds with other creators. And maybe never will. Strange. I know a lot of creators, some really amazing people, but often I just feel like I'm the hanger-on, the kid who followed his big brother, made to go with his big brother to the fair or something. That's how I feel. That's why I often don't comment or interact that much anymore. Because I just feel like I'm interrupting the conversation. And this brings me to this weird emotional bit. The bit I've always trying to hide with humour, because let's be honest, nothing says millennial coping mechanism like self-deprecation with a tasteful garnish of trauma. There's this whole other side of me. Part of me that, well, that used to come through that other channel. The weird, rambly, chaotic side, that it wasn't scripted, that was just me talking. And who loves certain stuff. Nerdy stuff. And I don't have anywhere to put it anymore. This side, that side of myself definitely doesn't fit on here, and it doesn't fit BookTube or publishing stuff. It doesn't fit into the YouTube meta, really. It doesn't fit into thumbnails and trends and algorithm-friendly structures, although I made my second channel as family-friendly as possible. So it just kind of sits there, waiting like an NPC, waiting for the player to come back for their side quest. And it's weird, because suddenly I realise there's a whole side of myself that doesn't really have a home anymore. And I know for a fact that you guys, and if I did it on this channel anyway, YouTube would absolutely throw a fit, but you guys would not be interested in a lot of that stuff that I talk about. Looking back at this decade, I've watched so many people come and go. People who commented on every video for months and then vanished one day like they were raptured. People who I genuinely thought were friends until they got a bigger subscriber count and suddenly didn't know me anymore. People who used me as a stepping stone, not a collaborator. Not everyone. I want to be very clear with that. But it happens more often. It happens often enough that you start noticing a pattern. Often enough that you start bracing yourself every time someone gets kind of close in a digital space. Often enough you learn to stop taking it personally, or at least pretend you don't take it personally. And that, more than anything, is what makes you feel disconnected. Like you're here, but you're never really here. Even now, after all the growth and changes, I still feel like an outsider looking in. Like I'm one step removed from this so-called community that everybody seems to flourish in. Imposter syndrome is a default setting for content creators. But mine has tenants. It has a pension plan. It has housing costs, and it's not leaving. I love what I do here, genuinely. But the sense of not belonging has always followed me. YouTube is like a weird little ecosystem where everyone's a bit anxious, a bit more lonely, and a bit more desperate for validation wrapped up as engagement. And I am not immune to that. I'm just more honest about it now. And with the last 12 months, well, real life happened. Life forced me to stop, look around, and say, oh, none of this bullshit matters. When you go for real stuff, kind that wakes you up at 3 o'clock in the morning with a cold sweat reliving it, it makes you rethink everything. Something weird happens. Stop caring about fitting in. Stop caring about saying the quiet part out loud. Stop caring about whether some cabal on the internet likes you. You lose patience for pretending. I don't want to fake being upbeat. I don't want to pretend to enjoy certain books because they're popular. Although I would like to clarify, I've never done that. But you know what I mean. I don't want to force myself into a niche that doesn't fit. I just want to be me. Awkward, tired, emotionally a bit broken, ADHD, occasionally trying to be funny. Am I funny? Some of you think I am. And sometimes I'm not always going to be shiny and happy, and that's just not my nature. Maybe I'll never fit in. maybe I'll always be, well, I'll always be, maybe I was always supposed to be the outsider. Maybe my role here is to be the guy standing in the quiet corner of the internet where people come not for hype but for honesty. Maybe this channel is the place for the misfit. Maybe we're all a little misfits. The people who don't quite slot into an ecosystem, the ones who tried to fit in, got slapped instead of hugged, and stuck around anyway because they love books and stories and weird conversations. If that's all this channel becomes, a quiet, slightly tired, emotionally honest corner for people like us, then I think I'm okay with that. Because 10 years later I finally realised, well, nearly 10 years later, I finally realised something. Maybe fitting in was never the point. Maybe the point of this channel, and me here, was carving out a space where the outsider finally belongs, even if it's just with each other. So yeah, not my usual content, but overthinking. And it's December, so we all have the right to be a little depressed right now. Like I said, like, sub, hype, support, do whatever you want. Have a good one, guys.